Kite team fights and a 5cc. And it's very interesting coming in for Nunu because he's building a full damage build. The Mask of Agony being the tank killer without any anti-heal prospect.
To make sure they're not taking these unnecessary team fights, but we have to look over to the KDA of Nunu, right? Everybody else, bar Nunu, bar Taos, have been actually caught up, so they're really struggling here on the side of Virtus Pro to actually close the distance to get the takedown of the Warrior, but 10-minute mark is an important part of this game.
When Nighty gets a choke point behind the tire, it's going to be a very dangerous play coming from VP.
Yes, but Lecky here, he's going to be the prime target. He gets set up for the first takedown of this brawl. Can they get a trade here on the side of Birmingham United? They're looking for more here. Little boy is trying to keep them away, but Taos is going to get taken down. It's going to be the sustainability of Birmingham United, but they might be able to get the claim here onto Xiao Bao.
Nunu is engaging another team fight, getting a Starry Night connecting to the jungle of Little Boys here. Xiao Bao entering at the choke point of Fibura from United. Follow this, still wants more, coming in for the team fight. Clue trying to sustain Xiao Bao, just disengaging for the long-term team fight, but look at Hailong initiating a good combo in the mid lane. VP is standing up again.
That was an amazing brawl, right? That seemed like a whole minute almost, right? The brawl started just at that Pyro spawned in there, the Shadow Overlord. Obviously, they had to use Clue's ultimate very early there just to kind of create that disengage, or at least move the tempo into their favor. But unfortunately, it means that Clue obviously got run down, burst down towards the end of that one. And that's going to be a real solid hit to the front line of VP.
Yeah, we said that VP is going to be a threat on the late game because they have so many sustainable heroes. They have the Chita, they have the Zilong. They could ask for long-term team fights and survive.
Yeah.
Because they have so many CC skills coming in with Hailong's knockup, with the Zhongfei ult. So Birmingham United late game is not going to be a good game for them. So they need to be a little bit more wary, guiding those resourceful skills such as the Zhongfei ult or the Hailong flash to get the advantage on the long-term team fights.
Yeah, I mean, the late game state of obviously the Little Boys and Taos is going to be really kind of the front line, the sustainability of their team, right? And then the Lecky is really where the damage has to kind of transition from Nunu into Lecky, but Lecky's been getting caught out too many times, man. He's 0-3. That's not what you want to be in if you are a late game marksman like the Chana.
Yeah, it's going to be very dangerous coming in from Birmingham United's side. Looking at the map control, VP is taking over the Old Gorge, and they wanted a team fight here. The Zhongfei, the ult is ready, Clue is ready for some action, but Nighty is just waiting for the perfect moment. Because if we're talking about Guan Yu needs the flank. Because when he gets a choke point on Team Birmingham United, it's going to be a good game for them.
Yeah, exactly. We see, you kind of saw there, like the shift of both of those sides of the maps, right? You saw obviously Nighty trying to stalk the top side, whereas Highland was looking to trying to kind of like keep saying like, keep an eye on me. I'm going to be the one that's kind of trying to draw you into a team fight right now. And maybe this is going to be it. Maybe the takedown of the Shadow Overlord is going to be enough to be a bait here for the side of Birmingham United. But they can't find a way out of the base. It looks like it's going to be not contested.
Yeah, it's very interesting looking at the items of Birmingham United, considering the IT anti-heal items is only brought up by Valdez.
Yep.
It's going to be a very hard game, considering that Valdez is going to be the main entry point of Team Birmingham United. And if Valdez gets picked off, there will be no more anti-heals. And you're facing a lot of strong heroes coming in from VP. There's Zilong and there's Cha. We've said that before, that they need to counter that heal effect with some anti-heal items. Maybe Birmingham United is trying to get a more of aggressive approach, but I don't think it's working right now.
This is a very interesting, obviously, damage graph as well, right? Nunu's all the way down to the bottom there. It's very interesting to see that that's where the damage is really going to be shown there. Top side is obviously for Xiao Bao as well as Valdez in that one. That was actually the goal. Damage dealt, definitely where we thought Nunu was going to be, right? His top up there, he needs to be. If you are a Lorien, that is your whole game. Just throwing out those orbs, trying to get like triple man knockups with the levitation there, but also just dealing a lot of damage over time. But for Birmingham United, I feel like they are living on borrowed time for now. But the launch of the air onto Clue, maybe a way in onto Virtus Pro, but they're playing very disciplined.
Yeah, they're trying to control the tempo of the game right now because they still have the outburst coming in.
Yeah, speaking of tempo, it's going to be the push and then the pull away from the Guan Yu as well as the jump favor. Highland gets taken down in the early part of the team by Nunu as well. That's a 2-3 trade currently right now. Taos has to using an Xaro. He tries to keep this base alive, but now Virtus Pro have to play a little bit more careful. They have to retreat a little bit just before they wait for this Vanguard to come through. Clue 19 Jaibao, they need to make the go. They need to go for the trigger pull right now, and there it is. Takedown as well. Baldness is the last one alive. The Hellfire is there, but can they keep the Crystal alive? VP, game number 1.
VP gaining a dominating victory against Buriram United, secures the first point of the game.
You say dominated, right? There was parts within that match where I was twitching. Buriram United definitely had a better go within that series, right?
Honestly, like looking at the gold gain on the early graph, you could see like a lot of gold coming in from the Buriram side.
Yeah.
But at the long-term game, on the late game, it makes it very difficult for Buriram to contest a lot of these team fights without any anti-heal items.
Any at all. It's very difficult here for the team, but they did give it their best shot. I feel like that performance from Buriram United was probably the best out of the entire series that they played so far against Virtus Pro, right? And maybe this is going to be a little bit more of a highlight for the boys on Buriram United. A bit of hope for themselves, their fans, but the problem is the same problem that arose in game number 1 at the last series. They've used the Lorien already. What's Nunu going to stick to next?
I think Nunu has a very, very diverse hero pool, considering like there's a lot of like flashy mid laners. We have Maishiruni, we have Shangguan. Also, we still have a lot more coming in from the mid lane. They still haven't used to any of like the utility mid laners, but we'll see what will happen in the next game. We'll throw it to our panelist desk.
Thank you, Rookie Blam. Back to the panel it goes. And Virtus Pro take game number 1, but not so fast from BRU. They make them work for it. Jaibao just too strong. That's what you said, Ken, as we come back here. Chantel and Ken with me, Rain Day, as your host here for this EWC, KWC at EWC 2026. And it's time to see how we feel after that game. So, Ken, I'll start with you. You said Jaibao was too strong. Was that where it all went wrong for Brew?
No, so it actually starts from the drop, the BP. This is where it went wrong for the side of BRU, not by their choice, obviously. This was a composition that was built to win from the get-go, but there was one weakness, which is during the laning phase, right? So let's take a look at the bottom side of the map. This is where T-Gold and Clue are at, right? So why this is so important is because Shishan actually is quite a close-range hero, mid to close range, to get the hits, to have your passive unlocked, to have your ultimate, and do the full burst damage with the sniper as well. So in order to, give more space for T-Gold, they actually pick up the Zhang Fei, the beast. Okay. So with the shield, you get to have more chances to be more aggressive, actually step up in the lane to get the free hits. Right? And this is where they started to have that goal difference built up. The second thing I want you guys to notice if you watch the replay of the game is that before the first 10 minutes, VP did not take any neutral objectives. They went for farm. They went for the turrets. And once the map was a lot darker, ding ding ding, 10 minutes, this is where the Shadow variants come up, enhanced versions. That's where they got the buffs and the fight started going in their favor.
And also to add to that, I kind of feel like for the lineup of Buriram, they're heavy on the skills, or very dependent on the skills. So it just means that every time that whenever the skill doesn't land on a specific player, there's no secure kill for the team, that it just means that they're bound to lose that team fight. So it's very crucial for a team against Virtus Pro, because for Virtus Pro, they're known to be a team to actually punish the errors or give entry points every time that there's a possibility for them to win over the team fight.
And they dug so many potholes for BRU. There was nothing they could do on that spot. Like, Nuno had no game to play at all.
And obviously, he is a big part of this team's success. When he's having a great game, he's controlling that mid lane, he's opening up the river, and obviously opening up those rotations, which did not go their way. But it wasn't, as the caster said, and Blam and Rookie were kind of looking at this, they had a better go at it. And Chantel, obviously, it's tough to face a team that you faced already, because they kind of know what you're doing. You've had the similar stumbles. Ken mentioned potholes, but Does it give you a little bit of hope going into this next matchup that it's not all said and done? It's not going to be necessarily the same result so easily?
Yeah, definitely, because I think Buriram played better on this game number 1 compared to their match previously, and there are changes actually on how they normally rotate, because we don't really see Taos that much on the heroes that he usually takes. It's mostly on the hard tanks, but this time around they kind of changed with U1, so it's something that they could work around, but they don't need to double down on specifics up against Virtus Pro.
Okay, this is a challenge though, obviously. You're down 0-1, you go home if you lose it again. Chantel, I'll go back to you. In running terms, is this like a 5K? Is this a half marathon? Is this a full marathon? What is this?
Actually, it depends on how they warm up.
Oh,
So I hope that it is a great warm up already for Buriram, because definitely for Virtus Pro, they're ready for a marathon.
Ooh. Ken?
I think besides a marathon, we talk about gear, right? You need to have your running pants, your running shoe.
That's right.
So for BRU, I think maybe try to steal a shoe. Oh, that's all. At this look nice game. Right? This is his signature hero. Ban that out first and let's start from there.
Yeah, and the Guan Yu can go to the other side now, right? So what does that look like though? Is that something that if you're VP, do you ban that out? Do you prioritize taking that away?
It depends on you, right? There's many ways to play HOK. Yes, you do have the ability to flank, but if you make him weaker in the laning phase where he has no equipment, no gold, it doesn't matter how fast he's going to push you, right? Because he's jumping to his own death instead.
Yeah, and I think also for Virtus Pro, they're not really the type of team to actually prioritize the heroes of an IT, because he has a flexible type of hero pool.
He's got a deeper pool, so it's hard to ban him out.
Yes, of course. It depends on whether or not they want to prioritize on winning that specific lane, I guess, for 90's case, because definitely on that game number 1, he played splendidly. Every time that there was a play, every team.
Okay, before we throw to the casters, who's the big player that needs to step up here? I'm talking BRU. Who do you need to see a great game from?
I think it has to be Licky. At this point, he was not allowed to play. Nunu as well needs to step up. They need to give the best possible space for the jungler. Valdez got a quarter kill. Can we repeat that?
Chantel?
I can't. Definitely Valdez.
Okay, Valdez. Nunu, Valdez, lots of different choices here, but either way, it's BRU who have to step up to keep this series alive. Otherwise, their key will be crushed, and Virtus Pro will find themselves in the quarterfinals. Let's send it back over to Blam and Rookie for Game 2.
Thank you very much, Rain. We are going to be bringing it back to game number 2. And after obviously point out that, like, I'm scared of these teams going up against what they're going to be facing in the playoffs, but I don't want to be going against Kindo Fu. He's going to be the Singapore Sling, stealing your shoe.
You're gonna be wary about Kin after this. But coming into game 2, we are gonna be seeing some interesting picks, because Blam said before that the Lorion pick is unavailable now for Team Buriram United. Maybe there's still Annette, there's still Florentino that is available. Maishir Nui, one of the best heroes of Nunu, coming in for HOK. In the other game, he was one of the best Maishir Nui players.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, definitely, we've seen his performance on this pick. It's definitely done well, but I also obviously have to give shout out to obviously his Xiao Xiao performance, right?
Yep.
Generally, when he gets the Lorian win, they give over the Lorian pick to the enemy team, and then he goes for Xiao Xiao and gets the phenomenal trick shots with that second skill, right? But this time around, he weren't able to get that confident victory there from the Lorian pick. Will he go for Xiao Xiao? Will he go for the new one like we saw in the last series too against Virtus Pro?
Yeah, I love how Nunu utilizes Xiao Xiao, like especially when on his match against Team Flash, he performed it really well, timing almost every skill on a perfect momentum. And coming in for the game 2, Jing and also Lorion is going to be shut down by Miss Guns, the coach of Buriram United.
Once again, we're just seeing the switcheroo with Chano, right? This matchup between Aween and Chano has been pretty much the matchup into the farm lane in this best of 3 of the play-in stage and the group stage. And Chano's definitely kind of coming out on top of that one just a little bit there, but then Aween, generally with that 56% win rate, is going to be a little bit more harder to calculate on this one. But the last time we saw this between these two teams, it came out on top for the side of T-Gold.
I think, like, if we're speaking about farm lane matches, Long is one of the strongest farm laners in the meta right now, and the only one who is able to counter that, it's either Chano or Forward Marksman. So it's either those two picks, and I think VP, they wanted a strong early game start, coming in with the Chano, and also the counter to that Lapu pick is going to be the Zhongfei and the Pei, Valdes main hero.
I was really hoping we were going to see the Nerds come out there as well, right? So it would make sense, obviously, going against Aoin, using the Starfall to drive out that ultimate, but when Pei arises, generally we get the Yukio Tachibana as well, right? Just more burst potential here for the side of Virtus Pro. But Chano here, last time we saw Tigo play this pick, it wasn't his most confident performance, I feel. So for Virtus Pro, in this draft, I feel like they need to kind of like huddle Tigo a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. Especially coming into like HOK, where there's a lot of team fights happening in the late game. I think T-Gold needs to play close to his peers, making himself untargetable by the enemies. And again, with the ban and picks here, coming in for the 3 ban on Nunu. The Heino pick, the Haye, and also the Mai Shiranui. Maybe there's one option left for the Xiao Xiao, but again, it's also a dilemma coming in with these two good picks from VP. They have the Ukyo and they have the Shano. So again, Xiao Xiao is not going to be the answer for this match.
Yeah, let's see what they go for here. Oh! We were saying, we were talking amongst ourselves, me and Rookie, before this game was like, hey, Brim United, that might get the Florentino here, but no, it's actually going to be Virtus Pro. It's actually going to be Nighty coming out with this bad boy, so that's going to be an interesting one to see here. But what we have so far for Brim United, have they got any real stellar counters against this Florentino?
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting coming into this draft, because Florentino, as we know, is a leading monster.
Yeah.
He could dominate the early game, he could dominate the team fights. We need a stopper coming in from Buram United, and a stopper, we get the Xiao Xiao pick that Blam said for.
Yes, Nunu gets his Xiao Xiao pick here as well, and then Dama going up to the top of the map here for Little Boys. Little Boys actually has only really played 4 heroes this entire tournament so far. Charlotte, Miuet, Dama, and Byron. So we haven't seen his Charlotte, we're seeing his Dama for the second time, so maybe this is going to be the way in, but it's going to be the Angela once again. I honestly thought pick 4 would have been the Angela, but then it would have meant that Florentino could have gone over to Buram United. So that level of 4D chess here by Virtus Pro means that they get to procure a pick away from Buram United and then get high rank on this Angela, which we loved last time.
Yeah, Angela has been a very, very favorable pick, especially coming into KWC by EWC26, and we see the matchup here. Because Angela has an anti-CC ultimate. The Blazing Brilliant Shield gives you anti-CC for a certain amount of time. And looking at the drops of Buram United, they have the Zhongfei, they have the Dharma, so a lot of CC coming in from their side. So again, just to be wary about the mid lane picks, we know that Nunu is very dominating, that's why they wanted to play a safer pick for the Angela.
Absolutely. I mean, we say a lot of CC, anti-CC coming through here as well for both of these two teams. What there is a huge gravity, right? If Buram United goes through for this one, this is the first AOV team ever to get into the playoffs. But if BP do it, they're one step closer for players like Highland, players like 90 to retain that top 4 spot or get even closer for it. So game number 2, ladies and gentlemen, we are going head to head here. Is it going to be the match point that Virtus Pro set up from that win in game number 1, or is Buram United going to be able to sully the scoreboard this time?
We're going to see how they turn out on this match, and again, the jungles are going to be meeting in the mid lane. Hailong getting help again from Jiabao, and it's going to be very interesting. Buram United's early game tempo has to be good here, because he's bringing 2 good heroes. They have the Xiao Xiao, they have the Pei. Dominating the early game would lead to a very successful late game gameplay for Buram United.
The thing we haven't seen with Virtus Pro with this entire series is what we saw when they last played, right? They were heavily invaded into the enemy jungle, stealing neutral points in the beginning part of the game. It feels like they don't want to make that mistake. They don't want to kind of pay that disrespect over to Buram United, because they've seen how they played already today. They've seen a different form from themselves.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting coming into the early game. The first minute always has been the most favorable minute for Buram United. They love their early game fights, that's why they're trying to dominate so much, and they been one of the faster teams to adapt to the HOK meta. Getting the teleportations right, getting to control the river has been their utmost possibility on this game.
Let me say on the last hit on the space right there. Little boys get the hit on the 90s. One of the knockup from Nunu, but it's not going to be enough to get the follow-up here. Boulders, you can see on the prowl, on the pay here. Can he clean the gap? But no, it's going to be 90 just going into that T1 territory to get safe.
Of course, we've said this before that this early game has to go to Buriram United with those good starter heroes such as Mei and Xiao Xiao. And Xiaobao, he knows this very well. That's why we haven't seen him that much.
Oh, okay, pause the flash there from Nunu. The burst came through, the ultimate there from Ukio Giovanna there. They really wanted to get that first blood.
Yeah, they wanted to get their lead over the Pei because we know that once the Pei gets started, it's very hard to stop him. Especially with the Lapu and also the full kill combo being viable after the 4th level. So it's very difficult to control the early game to leash the Tiger on the cage.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to be seeing that for Virtus Pro, but for Buriram United fans, they definitely want to see that Tiger come out, right? They want to see the unleashed beast here, and we're not talking about Tao's other Zhongfei, because we know that player as well. On this pick was denied in the last series they played against VP.
Yeah. Absolutely. And coming into HOK, coming into KWC by EWC, Taos has been amazing, right? We have seen a lot of his gameplay, especially like the Yuhan last match and also the gameplay of Lapu and Zhongfei. He has been very, very controlling the tempo of the game. He dictates so much around the game, making Nunu and Valdez comfortable, especially going into the big team fights.
Exactly. I mean, to be honest, he has obviously not only the game knowledge, but also maybe the mental of the coach as well, right? Just keeping people calm on the team of Buriram United, just creating discipline on the spot, making sure the decisions are made correctly here for the team. But we are obviously 800 gold ahead here by Virtus Pro, so a little bit of a different change in the game today from the last game that we saw here, where we saw Buriram United try and take the charge there, take the lead, but that 1k is looking a little bit harder to kind of like try and curtail here if Buriram United don't get a few pickups.
I think they don't need to hurry because it's not the 4th minute yet. It's all about the 4th minute in HOK. And I think that coming in with a Tyrant Overlord, they're gonna have to choose which one they want to get. It's either the big team fights, the big reward, or the big objectives.
Yeah, speaking of big objectives, big fights here, it's gonna be 90, you're gonna be the first blood here for Buriram United, but maybe you're committed, the flash has had to be used. Little boys, and Valdez has to pounce off the wall, he escapes the clutches of death, but Tao's into the back line, they get the pick up on the high line. This is probably the best early game stake we've seen from Buriram yet against Virtus Pro.
They're not done here. Buriram United still wanted that early game advantage coming into this game. Making Virtus Pro uncomfortable is their main purpose. Getting the team fights, the first 2 kills, and also a Tyrant. This is such a big bonus coming in for Team Buriram United.
Very big. They now obviously 80 seconds on the board here. They're going to be enhanced within their damage, and their team fight has been fantastic so far. Like, they have been playing this one to a T. It's been very well played here for Buriram United, but this pickup onto the replay here was a little bit of overstated play by the side of Virtus Pro.
Honestly, they didn't predict that Taos would be there to stop them with the outburst. They predicted that Taos was in the backline of Team Buriram United. That's why they were able to be overextending that much by the team fight. But once they saw Taos, everything was over. He outburst, he got that triple man knockback, and it was an amazing start coming into the Buriram United game in the second phase. And looking at the item choice of the Florentino from 90, he's playing a bit safe. He wanted that long-term appearance for big fights, so the Pure Sky is going to help him getting that momentum.
Yeah, when he was hoping for that, but he didn't quite get that, right? And this is going to be a 2-man dive, 3-man dive, top side of the map. They are punishing 90 for taking away that Florentino. It's like, this feels pretty personal for Buriram United, right? They are going for 90, they're gunning him down. He had massive influence in that game number 1, so maybe this is where the pressure needs to be put for Virtus Pro, is focus that Clash lane.
It's gonna be pretty personal coming into Buriram United, like considering they've played this hero for over 8 years. That's why they're pretty possessive about this coming into this game. And look at how they punishes every team fight. VP getting cornered on their own jungle, making them very, very hard to release their aggressive gameplay in this early game. But again, no worries for VP fans, because we know that VP has a good game on the late game. It's not about the early game, but here is about control and tempo.
Oh no, the control just come through here for the boys, but it's going to be met by the Blazing Brilliance. Can he just get that last little bit of poke? Finally, Virtus Pro get that kill under the board, but the cavalry needs to go down the bot side here. Clue Tigo was looking like in a bit of a scary situation, but everything's been forgotten in that top side. We see that 90's making a good play to try and just bring that game state into an equal guide.
I think Buriram United has been pretty good here.
Pretty big here, but that's going to be a pretty big ult that's been mitigated there. Like, nothing really followed up.
Yeah, it was very, very risky coming in from Taz, and we know that Taz is a very, very aggressive roamer, trying to get the best out of each ultimate for the sake of his teammate. That's why he popped his ult, trying to guard the backline. Nunu and Licky, at least they're safe here.
Yeah, at least they're safe. But I think what's the one thing they're not really safe from here as well? Like, we were talking about maybe putting the pressure onto 90 at the top side of the map, but I think the fact that he lost that T1 just means, you know what, I've got no home to go to, so I'm just going to demolish the game state, demolish the structures here. He gets T1 down to the bot side of the map. The ult there from Lecky is not going to hit anybody and fear them, but Clue has to force the flash over the wall to keep himself safe. At the same time, the smoke and mirrors play here by Virtus.pro is definitely the one that Buriram United wasn't counting on.
Yeah, I got handed to them. Like, VP, they've been controlling the tempo of the game. Like, almost every team fight that they give, there's always a return. Whether it's like jungle camps or towers or even just big objectives. It's a very good gameplay coming in from VP. And again, representing their team, representing their club. Of course, pride is going to be on the line. That's why the utmost perfect gameplay is needed at this highest level.
I mean, not always the most perfect, right? Like, if you do make a mistake here, Virtus.pro kind of showing the masterclass, right? Like, if the mistakes happen in the early game, is it something you can't come back from? No. Virtus.pro is just like, you know what, guys, don't worry about it. We've made mistakes, but we're going to come back. We're going to make sure they take the team fights, but we're going to take something that doesn't respawn, their T1s.
Yeah, it's always about the risk and the reward coming into HOK, and whether you can get the most out of the risk you take. And come on, coming in here with the 8-minute, this is going to be a very dangerous play for 90. Like, the vision, the dark map is going to be very dangerous here.
It's very dark and very dangerous, especially 3 men to take down 90. I mean, I feel like that's kind of like a Hobbit, right? Like, if you need 3 players to take you down, that shows the strength of this player.
Honestly, if I was 90, I would be careful when I get back to my hotel. Because I'll be wary about like the 3 people that are gonna gang me out of it. Like almost every team fight, almost every time that Little Voice has his flash, he always wanted to get 90. So it's gonna be a big question mark. Will they be able to get this lead protected until the late game, or are they gonna force that team fight?
Yeah, you think you get into the hotel, elevator on your own, and all of a sudden 3 members of VP just comes out of nowhere. You gotta be careful, right? You've gotta watch your back now, right? You definitely don't want to be on their wrong side. But if you look at the votes in the pit, obviously something we haven't pointed out yet, VP actually has a lot of votes, and Buriram United has been one of those teams that's been hard to vote against because they have such a big fan base.
Yeah, it's gonna be very difficult coming in for the game here. But again, trying to open that ultimate from the mid laner VP.
Dive out, he's getting caught out there, he has to flip over the wall, can enough jump time to get it there. No, it's not gonna be enough, it's gonna be a takedown on the high lane though, and Clue soon follows suit. Buriram United once again, they are the takedown kings. You can see they've got 7 kills to 1. They're just looking for blood.
Yeah, they just wanted the early game favor to go on their side until the late game here. But again, reminding the game about the 10 minutes is going to be coming. The Shadow Overlord and the Shadow Tyrant is going to be their big objective, their big focus, their big highlighter of this match. And looking at the draft from VP, bringing the Ukyo Tachibana, it's going to be very hard to compete with a very, very well-fed Pei.
Yes, Pei here, already starting the go on to the Shadow Tyrant with the help of Lecky. I feel like Zhao Bao has to play a bit of a risky move here. We can get that smite through, but it's going to be under the back line. It's going to be 90, but it's going to go over to Lecky as well. And Nunu into the back line, may fall down to 90. It is going to be a dark night for him, but can Buriram United look to take the back line of side of Virtus.pro? The answer is no. He falls down. Towers as well. That's a 1-3 trade here for Virtus.pro.
It's going to be very dangerous if Buriram United keeps on initiating like unwary fights like this, because right now the power scaling of Team VP is available. Looking at 90 and also Hylock, their power spike is here. With the outburst damage coming in for big team fights, Buriram United, they need to follow the same pattern as Game 1. They need to kite, they need to bait the gameplay. If not, VP is gonna make the most out of those trades.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the fact that they've got the Shadow Overlord here as well there, right? Obviously, the structural game is definitely going in favor of Virtus.pro, whereas we've seen here, like I've already pointed out, Buriram United, they're looking for the blood. So if they're even looking for the victory at this point, and they're just looking to see how many kills they can take from Virtus.pro, because they know the macro play here is not really going in their favor.
Yeah, they've been pushing a lot for VP. Like, they know that the weakness point of Team Buriram is their macro play. They know which point to pressure, and right now they need to split their focus not only for the big team fight, but also the laning phase that is coming for the top lane. So again, focusing on Buriram United, they need to focus on their laning phase, because right now, we've seen them before. They got beaten by the minion in the before game, so they need to be careful.
Yeah, that comes to something, right? When the minions macro is better than your teams. I mean, that's something you need to learn from. If minions are going to be finishing the game for the side of Virtus.pro once again. But we have to look here as well. Obviously, itemization-wise, we see the clues picked up the Bridges charge as well, right? That's just an extra little beefy bit of CC here that we have with the Lapu-Lapu. If the Rising Tide isn't enough, you could charge in, get the Bridges charge locked down onto one important part of the backline, and then get the follow knock-up, and maybe even convert it with the flash, just to completely change the whole tempo of that team fight in your favor.
They have to try to defend this, because right now they still have a lot of utility skills available coming in from Buriram United. They still have the outburst, they still have the meteor kill.
Oof. Oh, very remedy, but there into the backline. He tried to get a cheeky three-man knockup, but there it is. The soaring signal from Tigo. He gets the takedown. T3 is looking to be next.
It's going to be very dangerous coming in for Buriram United here. Without any more resource skills, they need to defend. The Overlord Vanguard is aiming for the crystal.
Yeah, looking for the final frontier here. It's going to be Buriram United. They need to defend these minion waves. They have Xiao Xiao's AoE. Ashimi Tao to get taken down. There is your front line. Lecky, we need to see some results. But the result is Virtus.pro go through to the playoffs.
Dominance is going to be their key, making their way to the top 8. Virtus.pro joining their colleagues in the Big 8 of KWC.
Absolutely, KML champions do follow through further into the tournament, trying to get closer to that last chance spot within KWC. Top 4, the boys with Highland, they are happy with this victory. I mean, Buriram United through the play-ins have been a stellar team, right? We've really been looking at these AOV teams thinking, wow, this is their first time onto the Gorge? What's the second time gonna look like?
It's an amazing underdog story, right? Coming in from Buriram United, taking down so many teams, going in almost to the Big 8.
Yeah.
But again, their performance in such a short time coming into HOK, they still need to be applauded. They played really well, they gave their best, and fighting VP, the team that even gets applauded by KSG, is something for Buriram United.
Yeah, I mean, at this part of the competition, is there an easy team to fight? The answer to that question is no. Like, there is no easy team. There was no way in. But if you look at the players' faces on stage, they were having fun, and that's what this is all about, right? Coming to KWC for the first time, representing your region from Arena of Valor, not quite getting into the playoffs, but you got as far as this. I feel like Buriram United needs to be proud of that fact.
It's gonna be an amazing story coming in as the invited teams, proving so many teams that is coming in and playing HOK for a long time that they could and they can. But again, I'm gonna pass this on to our panelists.
Yes, my friends, VP have qualified on, and that's the question now to ask Mr. Clue. Clue, merci beaucoup. Thank you for joining me here. I'm going to ask you first in English here. Both games are actively going around the map, securing kills for your team. You got the highest kill participation also. How does communication work between all of you on the team in these sorts of moments? Bien sûr, durant toute cette game ou les deux games, tu avais toujours le kill le plus haut, toujours en participation durant ces grands teamfights. Bah, en fait, ça ressemble à quoi la communication entre vous durant le match?
La communication est assez simple. Mon jungle s'occupe de toute la communication. Je lui fais la vision et on a toute l'équipe comme ça.
In fact, communication is pretty simple. My jungler is getting the kills, and I'm just here facilitating things and making sure that it works out for us at the end of the day, which is exactly what happened through it all. This is your first time making playoffs here at KWC and EWC. What does this achievement mean to you and the team? Bien sûr, c'est votre première fois au KWC, EWC au playoff. Et c'est quoi pour toi comme joueur et pour ton équipe en total pour pouvoir se qualifier au playoff ici?
Le minimum pour nous c'était le top 8, donc ça fait sens qu'on soit là. On a tout donné pour, donc on est content.
For me and the team, our minimum was kind of just, hey, let's make it into the top 8, make it into playoffs, and we'll see from there. So already from that perspective, we've achieved the minimum that we wanted. From now on, it's all open. Now, on top of that, you're playing on home soil. You're in Paris, you're in France, home crowd, and all. Is there anything you'd like to say to them, either here or watching at home, or be joining us through playoffs? Bien sûr, tu joues ici à Paris, tu joues en France. Soit les fans ici, soit ceux qui regardent chez eux ou qui seront là durant les playoffs. Est-ce qu'il y a un message que tu veux passer à tous les fans là-bas?
Ouais, je veux remercier tous ceux qui sont venus me supporter. Merci, ouais!
Of course, I want to thank all the fans that have joined us here to support us and in the future as well. As you heard it, ouais. It's part of it.
Oh, what'd you say?
Oh, just the ouais, ouais. How do you say it when you want to cheer on in French? You say ouais? See? It's automatic. Then VP, come on over, come on in, Clue, thank you very much. Let's bring the rest of the team. Come on in from the front. We got a Greek crushing to do, and you know that this is one of the best parts of things here at KWC and EWC. Our doors are opening up, and Virtus Pro will be joining us. Come on in, come on guys. Right here, come. I know, see, when the big door opens, it's time to go in for the crunch. Come on in, Clue, rest of the squad all together. A huge moment for Virtus Pro, who qualified to the playoffs of KWC and EWC 2026 for the first time. That's the achievement that we're looking for, and that's Buriram United Esports crushed to bits and sent packing home. Inner Crusher live in Paris. Huge moment for VP who advanced on as that's the achievement that we're looking for. We have to get through all the details, and for that, it'll be the panel to break it all down.
Allez, allez, as the French fans celebrate in style in Paris as they send one other home, a key being crushed, and it's unfortunate that it has to happen, but that's just the way it goes here at KWC at EWC 2026. Welcome back to the panel. I'm Rain Day, joined by Chantel and Ken. Guys, that was a great game, but it was also clear that Virtus Pro had something figured out from the very beginning. BRU made some good adjustments, but it was the same result, Chantel.
I kind of feel it for BRU. They mostly focused on stopping the Florentino that they tended to forget the other side. So there were a lot of opportunities for them to somehow convert those skills into having the objectives, but because of that, they gave a lot of space for Virtus Pro.
Ken, I feel like there was a good start for BRU, and you almost thought, well, after that first pick off and they grabbed 90 and they didn't trade out and they went up a couple of kills, they stayed up in kills the entire game. Did you feel there was hope? How did that get dashed? What did Virtus Pro do to turn that around?
It looked pretty good at the start, but then take a look at this concept of, example, they treated 90 like an ATM machine. They're throwing cash, right? Throwing EXP. But at some point in time, these resources will run out. And this is actually how VP came back into the game. So instead of just, allowing the deaths to be taken away from the Florentino pick, which also shows you the weakness of Florentino. They made sure that, okay, if someone's going to be putting pressure on the top side of the map, like Chantel was pointing out, let's figure how to do something else somewhere else on the map, alright? And that's exactly what they did. So they actually used 90 as the bait, and that was a very tasty bait because Florentino is pretty hard to catch.
And at the same time, I think the most crucial part of the game was around 8 minutes, wherein there was a shutdown against Nuno. If I'm not mistaken, it was it was 90 that got the kill, and that alone means that the difference in terms of gold because of those early kills against him was lessened at that point. And at that moment, majority of the sides or the towers on the sides was taken by Virtus.pro. So the story of the whole game was just about Virtus.pro having better trades around the map as to why for Buriram United Esports they had a hard time to even take down the tower at the middle lane.
Exactly, same formula, but two very different results. So, BRU couldn't get any value, no turrets, no gold. And at the end state, you can take a look at the gold of T-Gold as well as Liggy. There was a big 2,000 gold difference throughout the entire game, simply because they made one simple decision and did not look the other way to check.
A good compromise, people say, is when nobody feels happy. But it felt like maybe Virtus.pro felt a little happy on those compromises, unfortunately, is what you're saying to me, guys. I want to look at ahead how this works for this team because, being here finally now making it into the knockout stages, what are our hopes? Because as even Blam and Rookie have mentioned, there is no easy team fight. There's no easy game from here on out.
Definitely for Virtus.pro, they are in a good position because they know how to adjust inside the game while the game is happening. And that alone means that the knowledge that you have with the current patch is just on point, that you can stop whatever it is that's happening on the other side, given if there is a huge lead also for the side of Buriram, and it's easy for them to apply that on the next games that they will be playing on the playoffs.
One of the things that I've seen, and I don't know if this is real, but there has been a bit of an energy at EWC being in France, and there has been a little bit of a France buff, a Europe buff. I feel like,
Right.
do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There has been, and one of the things about Virtus.pro is you start a little run, you get a little confidence, who knows what can happen. This is what we're going to start speculating about. Of course, coming up, we don't know where they're going to be playing yet because we have our draw show happening at the end of today. So stick around, we've got one more match, then we will have our draw show. We'll figure out exactly how those quarterfinals look. But Ken, when you get there, every team is dominant. And of course, the KPL teams wait there as well, which that's going to be a big win if you even get a game off of them.
It is, and there will be a prize. So if you manage to take a game off of the KPL teams, you get 10,000 USD.
What?
Seaweed, you have 100,000 USD to play around with.
Oh
That's
my goodness.
a good bounty to have, but there's a reason why they put such a big bounty, because it's not easy to do.
All right, well, we've got to do our thing, which is unfortunate for the teams that lose, but hopefully they get to learn from those losses. Sky is with Little Boys for an exit interview.
Hello guys, good to be back. I'm Sky and I'll be honored to have Little Boys from Buriram joining me for the post-match interviews. Sawadee Kap? Sawadee Kap. So how do you feel after the whole thing, the whole series just ended?
รู้สึกยังไงบ้างครับที่เราจะต้องหยุดเส้นทางของเราไว้ณวันนี้ฮะ
ก็จริงๆก็รู้สึกเสียดายครับแต่ก็รู้สึกว่าทำเต็มที่ในช่วง6 วันที่ผ่านมาแล้วครับ
To be honest, we're quite disappointed at our performance, even though we try our best.
So you've completed 6 series and the total game so far, so it will be your total journey here in KWC. So do you feel yourself improving and changing as the time goes by?
ก็ค่อนข้างเป็นเส้นทางที่ค่อนข้างมาเดินทางมาไกลพอสมควรเลยนะฮะในปีนี้เนี่ยอยากถามว่าเราพอใจกับเส้นทางนี้ไหมฮะที่แบบว่าแบบ performance ของเราในช่วงเนี้ยฮะ
ก็พอใจครับเพราะว่าพวกเราก็มีเวลาซ้อมแค่อาทิตย์เดียวครับก็รู้สึกว่าอาจจะทำได้ดีกว่านี้ครับถ้ามีโอกาสในรอบหน้า
To be honest, we're quite satisfied with our performance because we have only 1 week for practicing and screaming, but next time if we have more time, we promise you guys that we're gonna get a better result.
Of course, everything better will be happening in the future. I'm pretty sure about this. And for game 2, so your opponent choose Florentino, goes on to the top, and you choose Dharma instead, trying to counter back. We all know that Florentino is a super strong laning hero. So how do you try to handle the situation up? And you actually got the first blood, right? How do you do that?
ก็นะฮะในเกมที่2นะฮะในฝั่งตรงข้ามเขาเลือกเล่นฟลอเรนติโน่นะฮะส่วนทางเราพยายามจะเลือกฮีโร่ที่เป็นตัวเคาน์เตอร์แล้วนะฮะแล้วก็พวกเรายังได้เฟิร์สบัตจากทามเรายังเก็บเฟิร์สบัตได้ด้วยแล้วตอนนั้นเรารู้สึกยังไงกันบ้างครับแล้วก็แผนตอนนั้นเป็นยังไงบ้างครับ
ก็รู้สึกว่าเหมือนทางเขาจะเล่นฮีโร่ตัวนี้ได้แบบเขาไม่ค่อยแบบเขาแบบยังไม่ค่อยแบบช่ำอะไรเงี้ยแต่แล้วพวกผมก็เจอจุดเปลี่ยนพอดีเพราะว่าเขา
เขาเรียกว่าอะไรแบบมาหลุดตำแหน่งใส่พวกผมก็เลยแบบลงโทษ
So in my opinion, I don't think that the opponent team played Florentino that well. Like so, and at that moment they're like over pushing up, so we got a chance to get the first blood.
Okay, I feel a lot of support and love from the fans all over the world. They're actually here in Paris supporting you guys. So what would be the things you want to say?
อยากฝากอะไรถึงแฟนๆที่คอยซัพพอร์ตเราในเส้นทางนี้บ้างครับ
ก็พวกเราก็เต็มที่แล้วครับก็ขอบคุณทุกคนที่คอยให้กำลังใจพวกเราครับก็พวกเราก็มาได้แค่นี้ครับผมไว้เจอกันโอกาสหน้าครับ
So thanking everyone for keep supporting us. Like next time, we promise that we're gonna perform better and get a better result.
Okay, thank you for your time. Thank you for your help as well. And this will be it, and give it back to the panel.
Well, it's great to always see improvement, and also I feel like it's just something to acknowledge doing an exit interview after you lose. Not easy because you're not even processing what's happened yet. You're not taking those learnings. So thank you very much, BRU, for doing that with us, and great interview, Sky. Coming up, it's Blacklist International Team Vitality, IKL, PKL. Ken, there's a lot of history between these two regions.
Too much. But we want more. That's the whole point of it. Yeah, I mean, we have a specialist from PKL over here. We can talk about the history of the PKL teams.
You know what, for Blacklist International, we have this inside joke already for our international casters that when we say Blacklist International, they play really well because it's an international tournament, so it stands for the international, and it shows a lot during the games that the Blacklist played. Even coming straight from the play-ins, played well against Nongshim Red Force. We have this tiering list for all of the teams participating at KWC and Blacklist International. They're just showing that they're a force to be reckoned with in this tournament.
Well, coming up in just a moment, we've got Blacklist International going up against Vitality. They're going to be playing next, our final decider match before we get the quarterfinal draw. In the meantime, before we come back, we'll put your attention towards the new EWC Princess Frost skin that you can grab in-game. Welcome back to the Lenovo Legion Gauntlet. I'm Rain Day, and I'm your host here for these next few days of KWC at EWC 2026. For those who have been watching along, more great action on the way. We are not done. One more game will give us our final quarterfinal matchups. But of course, we'll do our draw show after that. Excitement abound. But I want to make sure you guys know, Chantel, Kent back with me here. We're not changing out.
Team has better understanding of the changes or has who has better gear coming into the game, because definitely like with how IL teams are playing, have stronger of the things that's happening around the HOK.
It's also about who learns the fastest, because both teams have been at the boot camp, right before KWC. So there were many lessons given. Who learns the fastest here?
What do you think you learn at a boot camp like that, especially so close in proximity to the event? Can you make up enough ground to have a significant chance? I mean, both of them now had a chance, one of them being in the quarterfinals.
For sure. I think at this point it really is about you will finally understand how the other team will start to think, what kind of rotations they may be. You can make blind brush plays, so you don't even need to have vision of your opponents, and you should be able to get a big win. And you know, in the bigger leagues, the more critical moments like this, where we're going to top 8, every moment matters. Go ahead.
And you know what, I actually talked to some of the players actually who participated at the bootcamp, and one thing they mentioned that they really learned from the experience is the better understanding of the macro. So every layer around the map has to be considered. For every move, you need to predict whenever there's going to be a player in this bush, whether they're going to go for a Tyrant or go for the trade. So that alone, it makes sense as to how these two teams are playing. So definitely for Team Vitality and Blacklist International, it's showing from the previous matches that they played this KWC.
Well, representing the Philippines here from the PKL, Blacklist International have awaited who would join them in this matchup. It is Vitality, Blacklist International with their own journey here at KWC. We had a chance for Sky to catch up with Chammy before we began today's match.
Hello guys, I'm Sky, so I have Chammy together with you for the pre-match interview. Say hi, please.
Hello guys, I'm Chammy from Blacklist International.
So are you watching the games just now happened?
Yes, it was crazy.
Yeah, what do you feel about the
our plays are gonna say it for itself.
Let's take this in the other angle. So, if I were asked you to name one main weakness of Team Vitality, what will be it?
Maybe they're too passive sometimes, and maybe we can have like
Thank you. And this will be it. Take your time back.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Well, thank you, Jamie. Very interesting thoughts, a chance to exploit the passivity of Vitality. We did see that as well, and Chantel starting out in that game.
I think for Blacklist International, they already have this idea that for Team Vitality, they're not heroes that cannot penetrate the back lane. So as long as there are heroes that could go on those areas, so Team Vitality is having a hard time on that.
Do you agree with that, Ken? Are they looking for dive? Are they looking for characters that can create complex situations that now we have to deal with this? We weren't planning on this. We're out of structure.
For sure. So this, let me rewind the history for you. Why everyone loves the PKL-IKL matchup as well is because both regions love to fight. And when there's a fight, it's going to go long, it's going to go big. And when you get that satisfaction of winning the team fight, this game could potentially lead to a big last team fight, and you get the win off of it. So this might be a big moment to watch out for in the games.
Well, Vitality is going to have to show that resilience if they want to battle against their PKL opponents in Blacklist International. As we had a chance to catch up with Blacklist, we also had a chance to catch up with Vitality, and it was Ball who took some time with Sky.
Hey guys, welcome back. I'm joined by Paul to our pre-match interviews. So you have already finished one. Wow, that's a crazy ride. How do you feel after that?
Feel pretty good because we didn't have scrim before.